Two more things. The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Comes to Fed Governor Lisa Cook, her lawyer has said that they're going to be filing a lawsuit challenging this legal action. What is your response? Are you prepared for a legal fight? And then a little bit more.
Oh, sure. Always. You always have
question,
legal
sir.
fights. Look, I had a legal fight that went on for years with crooked people, with very horrible people, people that have been found out now between John Ratcliffe and Tulsi and Pam. And I mean, the things that we found out, of course, it's a very, very sad group of people. But no, she seems to have had an infraction, and she can't have an infraction, especially that infraction, because she's in charge of, if you think about it, mortgages, and we need people that are 100% above board, and it doesn't seem like she was.
Let's talk about the big run-up in crypto recently. Obviously, Bitcoin hit a brand new record a couple of weeks ago, more than 125,000, but Ether has suddenly reared its head and hit new records. Tell me about your Ether ETF. What's in it, and why is it doing so well?
Right. So it's very much what I call the Wall Street token. And what I mean by that is if you think that because of stable coins now, every bank, and they are, and every financial services company has to have a way of taking in stable coins. If I want to send you stable coins, your bank has to figure it out, or you will find some other institution to do that. So the winner is who's going to be building on these blockchains. It's going to be some Ethereum or something that uses Ethereum's kind of methodology, which is called EVM. And so that's why ETH is because the Wall Street CTO is going to turn around saying, what the hell is this stuff? When am I going to build on? And it's going to be Ethereum.
If you work out an industry in this country because it's cheaper to make the stuff overseas, is that a national security risk? Or are we just nostalgic for a different time when America was still a manufacturing powerhouse? Last week, the president talked about an ongoing 232 investigation making furniture. 232, mind you, being a national security kind of tariff the president has control over. The president's apparently worried about supply chain risk for furniture, something that seems a little strange, but we're in a Cole Porter moment. Anything goes. Am I craving in my insistence of trying to help these people rather than arguing about policy? Am I less of a thinking person because I didn't direct them to the angst about the Federal Reserve's independence? At the end of the day, at the end of the very day, I just don't want to scare anyone from what could be a good stock and a good stock market because of the feelings I have about the Cook imbroglio. So I keep my opinions that aren't relevant to stocks to myself unless asked directly about them. You don't come to me for a civics lesson. You come to me to ask me if you should buy or sell NVIDIA. I say buy, or at least hold. You want to know whether I think Apple should buy Perplexity. I don't talk about it anymore because I've said it too many times. But I don't mind this. You know why? It's not my lot in my life. It's part of my life's joy. So here's the bottom line. As long as I have this job, I'm going to keep trying to help people make money in stocks.
Yeah, good morning, Wilfred. It is a theme that I like, and it's actually been one of the fastest growing plays this year on the market. If you see the AUM growth in both the single name stocks and the quantum ETFs out there, investors have taken notice. So I think that quantum computing is really just a call option on the future of technology and on the future of computing. And it's something that's coming to fruition now, right? So you have quantum computers that are becoming more commercialized. They're starting to make advancements in material science and drug discovery and aerospace and defense. You have government spending going into the space. You have a race in quantum computing between the US, China, and Europe. And, the news story that you just announced now between IBM, one of the leaders in quantum computing, and AMD just tells us that there's more CapEx going into this space. So it's a good path for the future of computing.
Passage in a multitude of entry-level jobs, from investment banking to private equity to consulting, and that may be about to change thanks to AI. I welcome this, Leslie.
Yeah, because you were a spreadsheet cruncher.
No, but I wasn't very good at it.
You were an Excel monkey?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it for 5 years before I joined CNBC, and I always was way slower. Do you know what? Not just than my colleagues, than my late, great older brother. He was a machine on it, and it just always annoyed me.
So for some people, it literally clicks. When I started in business school, I literally bought a Excel for Dummies book, read it. Still, I'm terrible at Excel. But just within the last month, Here's some good news. There's been a slew of AI product launches that aim to take on Excel or Google Sheets. One of them, called Shortcut.ai, went viral when its Excel agent was unveiled in late July. The technology can build a discounted cash flow model from scratch in minutes. The CEO, Nico Christie, told us that Shortcut is already serving thousands of paying customers at thousands of companies, mostly through individual lower-level employees.
The work that you do tends to be very time consuming and I wouldn't say menial, but repetitive. And what you'd rather be doing is doing what the associates and managers do at these firms, which is mostly reviewing the work that takes more time to do. So now that we can have AI that can actually do 4 hours of work in 20 minutes, it's a no-brainer in terms of ROI and making the switch over.
Christie said that ROI unleashed a battlefield in the race for superhuman Excel agents. Shortcut's parent company, Fundamental Labs, has raked in more than $40 million in funding from Prosus Ventures, Andreessen Horowitz, and First Spark, to name a few. OpenAI just invested $14 million in something similar called Endex. General Catalyst just seeded another company called Paradigm, and Google and Microsoft have been quickly rolling out AI features to defend their spreadsheet turf. So far, none of the agents, though, are 100% perfect. They still require human oversight, especially in scenarios with legal or regulatory or compliance implications. But the technology is improving by the day, and it's expected to have broad ramifications for Wall Street talent, as well as bottom line efficiencies. And guys, this has all really just exploded in the last month.
It's super exciting and makes your life better and should make other people's lives better in certain ways. Those that actually have to do the job, it will make your life easier. Well, but there's those who won't get the job because there won't be a job to do.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're heading to Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Howard Lutnick said the Department of Commerce is going to put out GDP numbers on blockchain. Yes, guys, you heard that correct. And that's going to go over a lot of people's heads because we know we have a lot of distractions going on. And we know that people stay distracted on things that don't matter. This whole economy is going to be tokenized and put on blockchain. And then we have Trump on Fed Cook, taking all the heat off Jerome Powell. Guess how quickly the media can change. Everything was about Jerome Powell. And now you don't hear a peep. Remember, the mainstream media controls the minds of the people. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Jim Cramer on tariffs. And guys, we know tariffs are going to weigh on this economy, and I'm going to get into that later. But Jerome Powell says he doesn't want to scare anyone from this good stock market, and he told people to buy NVIDIA yesterday. And we know to do the opposite of what Jerome Powell stated. But again, I'm going to go over NVIDIA later. And then we have quantum computing. Of course, guys, this is the early stages. It's still cheap. And if you're a part of the Patrons, you know I talked about it a long time ago. And if you have the NWO book, you definitely should be a master. But guys, once they turn these supercomputers on, these quantum computers, because the game is about to change. They have these AI agents, robots, algorithms, and drones that can pull from all this data in milliseconds. And now we have AI agents taking over Excel. And I was about 20 years old when I entered into management. And you had to be a master at Excel. And now you have companies like Shortcut AI that's going to do the work for you. And is going to replace a lot of people. And remember, this technology can be used for good or evil. Yes, you want to understand the technology. If you can use it to enhance what you're doing, if you're running your own business, that's great. But we know these businesses that are paying people to have that knowledge, they're going to replace them with this technology because eventually it's going to become seamless. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. 2026 to 2028 is a machine takeover. And then we have Gusto, which uses AI to help you with 401k, retirement, payroll, benefits, HR, and employee onboarding. And majority of these companies now only have 1 or 2 people working in HR. The rest of it is automated. And when you look at benefits and payroll, that bin was automated. I remember having to stay up all night doing payroll. Now we have Nvidia stock pulls back, but it did have an earnings beat in most of the sectors. But like I told you guys, Nvidia pumping like they were before, those times are about to end. 2026, guys, it's time to build the 4th industrial revolution. And then we have the tariffs. Yes, they're going to weigh on the economy. And guys, remember, we've been in a recession. And these tariffs are going to weigh on small and medium-sized businesses. So therefore, of course, layoffs are going to increase. And then we know these big corporations are going to make the excuse like they're being hurt by these tariffs to also lay off. So therefore, they can bring in all this technology. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. But it is definitely time to build. And that means markets are going to pull back. And with all this money printing, they pumped all these stocks based off valuation and not real profits. But now it's time to take the money out the system so therefore they can build this new digital economy. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Right. And I asked Christy about that. I said, is this going to just completely supplant the entry-level workforce in all of these industries? I mean, we're not just talking about investment banking. We're talking about consulting. We're talking about private equity. We're talking about accounting. I mean, he said 2 billion Excel users that are proficient with it, that use it every day for their jobs.
But I have a bigger point, which is this kind of highlights a broader question of, does AI now just arbitrage away kind of all the potential different views on a stock or in the market? I mean, if AI builds the spreadsheet and the model from which then the whole of the sell side base their kind of forecasts, aren't we just kind of all going to converge on the same thing? I mean, maybe we already have that now because the biggest stocks are covered by so many people and you get the consensus forecast. But it's going to happen
but they're going to give you ranges, right?
Yeah. And I think
it's all going to be a range, and someone's going to have to decide, I'm picking the low end of this range, I'm picking the high end of this range.
But I'll step back from this. I still remember in my early days when you had to build your own model. That was like what you were told. And yet you could have just picked up any one of the 28 sell-side analyst models and used that initially. But what does it actually really come down to? I am going to put in a bigger input on AI sales of this company than most others because I believe in the big themes.
Right.
So again, it's so interesting, like the amount of time and energy that goes into all this, and really, does it really make the difference, the underlying model versus getting those big themes right?
Well, I think, it all comes down to the prompts that you give the AI and tell it to look for certain assumptions and pull this 10K and compare it to this 10K. I mean, you still as a human, you have to instruct it to do what you want it to do.
AI is not, so I tell my kids this all the time, AI is not like a mind reader. The prompt actually does matter. If you have a view, you tell it the view. If you don't have a view, it will come up with its own view. I agree. If nobody has a view and you just are literally saying to the AI, what do you think? Yes, you will get to that point. If everyone has no agency over themselves whatsoever, we will all come to a median in the middle of some sort, some average. But hopefully you have some agency in your life and you're not just going to listen to whatever the AI gremlins have decided.
So I basically agree that. I kind of put it a different way, though. I think the people who take more agency over the next 5 years and rely on AI less will do better. Because I think it's just going to speed up arbitraging away the consensus.
Take a random walk down AI Street, perhaps, and we'll find out the answer.
I also think in human development, and I think this is really relevant for kids, you develop your intelligence much more by reading and thinking yourself. And again, the people growing up that embrace AI less, I think, will just generally grow their intelligence more. So I think there's a counter trade here. of embrace AI less, you might go further.
Well, we'll find out.
I'll take the other side of that coin for now. But anyway.
Why 401ks and small business is something worth investing in right now, both based on the regulatory and legal environment, and also what technology is allowing to happen.
Well, great to be here, John. Excited to be here with KB. I would say, first off, Gusto, our entire purpose is to help and support small businesses. And one of the biggest things that they think about and want to make better is their employees and their livelihood and how they plan and budget for the future. And retirement is something where if we can give peace of mind. We've been working with Guideline now for nearly 10 years. It's actually pretty amazing. Our shared customers have saved in the range of $10 billion for their retirement. And so as different states get involved in wanting small businesses to go offer retirement benefits, we think this is a great time to go come together and help even more small businesses.
Kevin, how does technology make this 401k thing work better for small businesses?
Yeah, John, as you know, we've been building software in 401k land for quite some time. And now with Gusto and joining forces, we can go even deeper into the stack. So we're really excited about all the data that we get out of payroll. And payroll and 401k, are linked at the hip. So for us, this makes a ton of sense. And I'm super excited about going deeper and offering our product to more and more small businesses.
In the most recent quarter, it reported EPS of $1.05 per share. I'm going to get you the comparison on that. On the revenue side, $46.74 billion in revenue, a 56% jump, and relatively in line with estimates. Data center revenue, $41.1 billion, up 56%, in line with estimates. Gaming revenue, if you care, 4.3%, up 49%, just slightly above what the street was looking for. Your adjusted gross margins coming in at about 73%, 72.7% to be precise here, and free cash flow in the quarter, $13.45 billion here. And here's your forecast. The company says that for the current quarter, Caroline, it sees revenue of $54 billion plus or minus 2%. The street was looking for $53.46 billion. So if you take that plus or minus 2% here, maybe a slight disappointment.
Their expectation currently of what the tariff narrative is going to look like, because it feels like over the last few days, we've come back to this idea that maybe the impact isn't going to be so great. You smile at me. Well, is that where your head is? Is that where the people you talk to's head is?
I don't know where my head is, but I think that the investor's mindset is clearly that while there will be an impact, we are facing potentially an economic slowdown in the U.S. But I think people are not worried about a real recession. Ultimately, the way I think about tariffs is you have a 10% base layer that obviously they apply to pretty much everybody, and then they have additional ones with certain sectors in certain countries. So right now, add all that up, you're sort of 14, 15%. So the question is, how is that going to be swallowed, right? Is there